You mentioned Grant, played with him in the Cape. Is there anybody else, maybe somebody that was a freshman that's going in a sophomore like Grant, that LSU fans should keep an eye on next year?
First meeting was like, yeah, we got the 6-year guys like Vittmeyer and Bianco. I'm like, bro, I'm a normal senior. he goes, are you really? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I swear. And he goes, no.
I don't even know this one.
Did you know Hideki had a huge porn collection?
Just made that up.
No, he's Google it. Google it.
What did y'all give him this morning? He is off the racks over here, man.
He asked me specifically for Vyvanse this morning. Didn't give it to him. I was confused.
Oh, look out. Mikey is hit, and down he goes. Man. And he is not happy at all. That is the second time that Mikie Mahtook has been hit in this game, but this
Never forget it, bro. I had a 7 or 7:30 exam in the morning, so I walk outside.
Real life.
And I'm walking in my car, and I'm like, damn, enough, man. I could have sworn I parked right here. I'm like, what? Nah, maybe it's not here. I'm gonna go look around over here, bro. I walked like 3 parking spots, like in the direction I thought I probably parked. I'm like, fuck that. I know I parked right here.
Kids still doing that and out there playing for hours instead of just chilling on the video games.
Yeah.
Is awesome to see.
Chilling on the video games. Did you just age 55,000 years?
Well, we call them Fortnite nerds.
Yeah. Chilling on the video games.
I mean, chilling, like playing video games.
That's the way to say it, yes?
You think an old man would say chilling on the video game?
That's what you just said, yes.
You think an old man would say chilling?
On the video games?
On the video games?
Well, oh well.
You're an old man.
If you want,
Well,
I'm not a gamer.
You're getting older.
I mean, I guess
Mikey.
This was the next stage in development of our football team.
Good evening, and welcome back to Mik'd Up. We are brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Today is Monday, November 7th. What a fucking weekend we just had. We just got a little bit of not a preview, but a little bit of a recap of the mayhem that ensued on Saturday night in Death Valley. Thanks to yours truly, Jack Ballard, our guy. That's not Jack.
Oh, well, I got it back there.
That's not Jack.
Jack might have been out. He might have been out all day, but he did not get this tan. That's not Jack.
Hey, Jack. Fucking shout out that dude. Both videos that you were able to produce, a lot of the footage on this one was yours, right?
That was all mine.
That was all your footage on the second video. Great work with tailored technique on the first video. Those of you who have seen the videos on our socials, Jack's first video was the first one that we would launch this week ever. This was Jack's second video. This man is talented. This man loves LSU. This man has been a very good addition to our show. He's out there every game taking videos, taking pictures of the team. So, great addition. This is a great videos, and it just kind of encapsulates what happened this weekend.
I'll be building something over here, okay?
We're building something. We're trying. We're working on. We're going through the Heineken headlines. Obviously, the biggest headline of the weekend: LSU is back. Somebody, not naming names, some people maybe, not naming names, mentioned that 10 wins was not out of the question before the season started, just based off of the coaching. I didn't say it was. This person didn't say it was.
Tommy Karen?
This person didn't say it was the most realistic thing, but possible. I think that it's possible. Don't you think?
You want to know what's even crazier about the 10-win thing?
What's that?
Is that technically the 11-win thing is actually still a thing.
And the 11-win thing
technically, chances are 12-win thing is still a thing right now.
Or 13.
And here's the deal.
Technically.
Here's the deal.
National championships on the table.
That's what I'm getting to. Playoff contention. They're in it.
Because Clemson stinks.
SEC West, they've won it, probably. I mean, unless they fall off a cliff and lose. You only have to win one of the next two against that to win the SEC West. So you can pretty much put the West in as check mark in there in Atlanta, right? You got to go there and play Georgia. You go and you run the table. LSU was the first 2-loss team ever. Our friend here was on that team to win the BCS national championship. There's never been a 2-loss team in the 14 playoff. It looks like if LSU does what we think that they may be able to do and run the table, looks like LSU will be the first 2-loss team in the college football playoffs. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We don't know. Georgia is a big hurdle to have to get over, and you have to get there. This weekend is a big game. I don't want to take anything away from it. You're at Arkansas. They gave us the 11 o'clock game. I think national TV is probably like, damn it, probably shouldn't have given them the 11 a.m. game. We slept on LSU a little bit, but we're going to give them us the 11 a.m. game. It's going to be a little chilly. It's not going to matter. This is where coaching, we talked about it, coaching matters. Matters a lot, right? You've seen that. You've seen the progression throughout the course of the year. This is also where coaching matters because getting a team prepared after a game like this is all about message and coaching and making sure everybody's on the same page, and that's something that we finally don't have to worry about anymore, right? So boys have to go into this weekend, 11 a.m. in Arkansas. Arkansas always kind of plays this a little funky over there, but I'm more confident going there now than I was in the past based off of our staff. Obviously, the Saints play tonight, Monday Night Football, big game for the Saints. They, to me, I think it's the make or break of their season. Bucks pulled out something out of they Houdini'd it last night and won the game somehow.
Leave it up to the Rams to screw over the Saints.
Bro, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen that. But Saints go play tonight, Monday Night Football at home. They're the dogs in the dome. I have some money on some crazy parlays that I probably shouldn't have taken.
Well, that's what happens when you're a winner, Bobby. You get
right.
Once you get a little money to play with, I would like for you to explain what happened to the people. This is what I knew would happen to both of us. Whenever you get to campus, you smell the smells, you see the sights, you see the things, you see it all, you feel the energy.
What kind of things?
You want to go see Mike the Tiger?
I didn't see Mike the Tiger.
He was out there.
Didn't go see Mike.
Yeah. I saw Tiger Stripes.
A lot of Tiger Stripes.
Tiger Stripes. But once you get out there and you start feeling that feeling, we can't help ourselves. That's not my fault. I have no bigger addiction. I may have some flaws. The one thing I'm addicted to is LSU football when it's right. And by God, was Tiger Stadium and all of LSU right on all day Saturday.
And listen to me. I don't think I can overstate this when I say this. If you weren't in the stadium, live watching the game, that's okay. You could feel the energy from the TV.
Jared.
But I am telling you this. Being in that stadium and like seeing the atmosphere and experiencing the atmosphere, to me, in all the games that I have seen in Tiger Stadium, that may be the number one game that I have witnessed. Now, it's debatable, but to me, it's either that or 2007 Florida, right? Those are the two as far as atmospheres, and you were on the field for the 07 Florida game, so you can give us kind of a take on how that felt on the field, but it was, listen, we had an earthquake again. Two. We had two earthquakes again in Baton Rouge, in Tiger Stadium. Nobody sat down. It was loud. And listen to me. Alabama tried their best the first drive of the game to take the crowd out of it.
You mean the refs?
No, the first drive. They drive all the way down there, right? And first drive, that's been the bugaboo all year, right? We get off to kind of a slow start because everybody schemes up their deal. You get all the way down, and I wasn't like, here we go again. But it's like, okay, now we're going to go and respond, right? But you go all the way down. All of a sudden, you make a little tweak, put a little pressure, get in his face, a little happy feet, boom, throw it, a little behind, one-hand interception. Okay, now everybody settles down. And I rewatched the game Sunday morning. Everybody on the field settles down, right? Obviously, the stadium went crazy. And Kirk Herbstreit said perfectly, okay, that happens. You get the interception. Now you can kind of settle into the game, right? You can get into the game plan, get into what you want it to do.
We made a play.
And now you made a play. Now everybody's kind of back to equal. It was absolutely electric.
And I'll build on this too because I guess you talk about making a play. If you remember back to the Tennessee ball game, there was fumbles, there was picks that were dropped and missed. Those plays were not made. It was an unbelievable play by Bryce Young, unbelievable arm slot to throw it around him, but he threw it behind him.
Right.
And we did not make the play.
Yeah, we made the play this time.
That stuff matters, man.
And that's growth.
That stuff matters.
And that's growth. That's like, hey, we've been in this situation before in a big game. We didn't make the play. We saw what happened after we didn't make the play. Now we have the opportunity to make the play, and we make it, right? So now you get it, and now you're going back and forth. And not only did you make the play, offense moved the ball 2-3 first downs. Okay. And in a game like this, in a marquee matchup of top 10 teams, national TV, you know it's going to be physical, you know it's going to be energetic, you know it's going to be hectic. Field position matters. And in the first half, or really the whole game, but we won the field position battle. That happens, we get 2 or 3 first downs, boom, punt them, start on their 10. They get a couple. So we had, and then it kept seesawing back, but they were always starting on their end, deep in their end. LSU had a little bit better field position. It got to the point where we finally got the ball in the 50, took the ball in, scored the touchdown. They go down, they get inside the 20, can't score touchdowns. Field goal. Now, the second field goal, don't think should have happened because of some obscure rule that literally
1 in a million chance
makes zero sense to me.
Somebody said if you want to learn a new football rule, just watch an LSU or Saints game.
Yeah.
Literally, I've never
Here's the deal. And I understand what the rule says, right? But
the actual
the play didn't make sense to the rule because the guy was it Greg Brooks?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Had 2 hands on the football.
But
that's
No. It's stupid because
sound like talking about.
No, it's stupid because the play makes sense. The play to me makes sense to the rule. The simple fact that when you watch the rule in real time, and even when you slow it down, it's like, dude, you can't tell me that that's not a fumble recovered by the other team.
Right.
I get what this rule is supposed to mean, but this is not what it's supposed to mean when they say that. You know, that's the crazy part.
But here's the deal: like if our guy has possession of it, and some guy from the sidelines knocks it out of his hand. The ball was possessed. Now, I guess they said that they didn't have it for long enough to have possession or what?
The rule was he didn't have possession long enough when he first grabbed it, so that initial knocking it out is where the play ended up being dead. I'm like, that is ridiculous right there.
Makes no sense. But anyway, that happens, right? So, the field position battle was huge in the first half because the defenses were playing really well. What this game looked like, it looked like 2 extremely well-coached teams that had 2 weeks to prepare for each other, right? That's what it looked like. In the past, it hasn't really been that way. In the past, LSU needed to be the team to say, okay, we need to have some bounces go our way. We need to have some lucky breaks. We need something. We need them to shoot themselves in the foot for us to be able to win, right? This year, it didn't go that way. We made the plays. We did the things. They did it like we beat them straight up.
I felt
LSU beat them. It wasn't like, oh, they lost the game, they gave it away. No. LSU beat them.
I feel like we watched. It was really cool to sit back and watch because I felt like remember we talked about it on Friday. Like, hey, look, we can sit here and talk about our defense and what they might do all day, but like I was like, I'm not worried about our defense because they're going to score.
Right.
You're going to have to outscore them. And that's what we did, right? And you would still say with 30-plus points being put up on the board by them, you would still sit there and say our defense played unbelievable in the game. Like, they played really well because they did, right? That's called well-coached football, and two
doubt.
football teams literally going at it right now.
No doubt. I mean, you had the first half. It was 7-6, right? And you look at it and you're like, oh, 7-6, like, look. But like it wasn't like a boring 7-6. Yeah, look at that thing. Look at that.
You tell me what you see.
I mean,
I use this analogy a lot, but it's used by the Supreme Court, and they say, how do you define pornography? He goes, I don't know, but I know it when I see it. That's a recovery. It is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I told y'all to stop checking me on these things.
listen, I believe what you said.
Yeah.
But the 7-6 game, everybody's like, oh, it's a defensive game. It's boring. We thought it was gonna be more
It
offense. Wasn't boring. It was very. There was a ton of action. You had very high level football.
Yeah.
You had plays being made offensively. They just weren't making. They weren't scoring.
The
points.
ball was being moved.
Right.
Points were not just.
It
being
wasn't
scored
3 and outs, punt,
Yeah.
3 and out. It was, hey, a couple first downs.
Yeah.
Okay, defense makes an adjustment. A penalty holds them back. LSU had a couple holding penalties that really set them back a little bit. And then, but you go back and forth. You play the chess match. Then you get the ball and you have an opportunity to score a touchdown. You do, right? Then one of the key plays in the first half that I think people just expected it to happen, I guess, because it's football and you're supposed to hustle, was
Cowboy collar, Major
Burns slipping, right? He slipped on that crossing route. So the guy is running. There's nobody. It's but him in the end zone. And Major Burns slips, so he's already behind a wide receiver who can run.
Running back.
A running back can run, right? Like he can run. And he's probably 2-3 yards behind him, beat, because he slipped. Major Burns takes off and hawks him down, tackles him, saves a touchdown, defense holds, field goal. That's 4-point difference. We won by 1. My point is those plays matter. Those are winning plays that you make that come back to help you win a football game.
Well, I was just about to say, when you talk about it too, like think about it, like they had the perfect call in that situation.
Yeah.
They caught us in a man-to-man situation with the safety having to come down to cover him. Came down to cover him. He beat him. He got him to slip. He slips, and you still ran him down after he 50 yards down the field.
You didn't feel sorry for yourself. You didn't say,
let it go. He ran him down 50 yards down the field. That stuff matters.
It matters. And what happened was the defense stepped up, stopped him, field goal. Now it's 7-6 instead of 10-7.
Yeah.
And, you know, those things at the end of the day, when you put all these winning small things that together, turns into this big advantage, and you don't lose. And you end up winning those games as opposed to, oh, man, we lost. We were a close game. It was real tight. But you win, right? And you go into halftime, and where has LSU lost Alabama every year? That LSU's beating us? It's the second halves. You play them tight. Second halves we come out. What the fuck were we doing at halftime? Doesn't look like we made any adjustments. Looked like all they did was make adjustments. This year, not so much. We come here, make the adjustments. You knew they were going to score. You knew they were going to score points. You knew they were going to come out in the second half. They were going to make some adjustments. They were going to get in the end zone because that's just what they do, right? You were just hoping that we would make the adjustments back offensively, one, and defensively in the middle of the game in the second half, and we did, right? They score. Third quarter, they really didn't score much. They scored 15 points in the fourth quarter, which was where they scored all their points. But the adjustments and seeing the coaching staff go in there and make the adjustments and the players come back out and executes those adjustments and executes what happened in halftime, it's just bodes well for the future, man. They have so many young guys. I think I read something. There's 19 guys. I think we may have 19 starters returning next year, plus a top 5, maybe top 3 recruiting class in the country coming in. And guys all over the field. Harold Perkins, true freshman. Mason Taylor, true freshman. Left tackle, true freshman. Right tackle, true freshman. You have all these guys. Linebackers. Demario Tolan starting to play. True freshman. Haven't seen Walker yet. You have a guy who came in who's kind of had been up and down career as a quarterback. He comes in. He's in the Heisman contention, right? He's in the Heisman conversation. He has one more year. Does he come back? Does he not come back? We don't know. But right now he's here and he's happy and we're winning games and he's making plays and that's all that matters, right? But you have all these guys. Malik Neighbors, sophomore. Brian Thomas, sophomore. Mekhi Wingo. All these guys who are making impact. Mason Smith coming back.
Chris Hilton's coming back.
Like, you have all these guys who are making these plays and making a big difference in the games and winning games and putting a team on their back. Basically, they're all coming back. Plus, You have who was that recruit that sprinted down on the field? That corner, Javian Toviano.
Javian Tolan.
No.
Javian Tavano.
Tavano, right? He's there. He's sitting here with his family, like this, watching the game, watching the last play, like invested into what's gonna happen. It happens, takes off on the field, right?
And Desmond Ricks was crystal ball.
It looks like Desmond Ricks is signing here. It looks like things are happening. The process that Brian Kelly talks about is happening, and it's happening a lot quicker than people thought, right? And so he's building a program. He's not building a team for 1 year. He's not building a team for 2 years. He's not building a team around a quarterback. He's not building a team around one player. He's building a program, and that's what Alabama's had for the last 20 years, however long it's been, and that's what he's doing here. And I'm happy to see. I'm here for it.
And here's the thing, just for me, I don't think the building, this is my personal opinion, I don't think the building is anything different than what's been done here in the past. The difference is I don't think you'll see him let up once it's built. I don't think it'll stop once it's built. That's how all these guys have won. They've built it here.
No doubt.
But once it's gotten to where that height that it needed to be, they just let it go.
How
kind of put it in cruise control. I don't think you'll see that from him.
How he's building it seems like it's more sustainable than how built it on. He built it on basically Joe Burrow and motivating you and being the guy from Louisiana and having the crowd behind him.
Yeah, but you could have done that. You could have kept doing that.
Right.
And it could have probably kept going, but you didn't keep that going.
And the thing that hurt him was it was based on a lot of the coaches that he had around him.
Yeah.
And those guys are always, if you're gonna win, those guys are gonna leave, right? You have the head guy like Brian Kelly, where it kind of starts with him. That gives you a little bit more confidence to sustain it, right? And I'm with you though. It's about complacency is the
real thing.
Is the worst thing you can have.
Yeah, in every walk of life. It's not just football. It's a real thing. It's hard to stay hungry when you quote unquote get to the top and do things where you feel like it's rare air. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it just is what it is.
Lloyd, give me your take, man. What are you doing over there?
I'm interacting with the chat.
Okay, good.
You got to keep the fellas involved. Yeah. Absolutely. Is that you? Okay. But my take is, I feel like you touched on a lot of the good things, especially the Major Burns play, and I have a BK.
There's a lot I want to talk about, but
for sure.
Heineken headlines. I want to get through it a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's let you go. You gotta make sure we get Heineken headlines represented, get everybody in. All the sponsors. Here's our boy, our shared partners, Mikie Mahtook.
There you go.
The man, Elkhart Rolls. Obviously, we had a great time Friday night previewing the game, and I have to give it to you, Mr. Mikey Optimist. Man had 10 wins, 11 wins, Natty.
No, I didn't have the Natty.
No, we might as well have it now.
I was a little too optimistic. I said 10. I said 10 was a possibility, not realistic. I mean, it wasn't that realistic, but I thought if they bought in.
I thought 10 was the only possibility to get to 10 was in the bowl season.
Right. And I thought that if they bought into Brian Kelly, I thought that if they bought into the coaching, into what he was trying to bring here, that if you can go 6-7 with the debacle that you had last year, I thought that good coaching and a understanding and being on the same page, being aligned, right? That is worth at least 2 wins, right? Maybe 3 wins. And I was like, man, if you start winning and you start getting confident, who knows? 10 wins may happen. I don't think that is that realistic, but it's not out of the question.
Realm of possibility.
Right.
But even as optimistic as you were, as Jack was, we all circled this Alabama game and said probably a loss, right? But then you go in there, and like I said, once you start feeling what Baton Rouge can do, we talked about this a little bit before we were coming on the show. We're like, where would you rank that? And I think we kind of had the same point, but at 2 different mentalities towards that. You said 2007 Florida. I feel like LSU was already in that top 5 conversation. This is, okay, if you win this one, you're going to make it to the big show. Like, this is for the national championship almost, essentially. For me, this was more 2003 Georgia. Like, I wasn't there, but I watched the game and I realized and I remember watching it. But it's more of like a turning of the page, or like almost throw this book out. Here's the Brian Kelly chapter. Like, what happened the last 2 years, 2019 was great. That's not really the way that LSU has been winning with Les Miles and Ed Orgeron. It all had to come together at the exact right time. This is Brian Kelly in his first year building a program where this was not expected. But now that you're seeing not only the coaches buying in, the fans buying in, but most importantly, we were talking about players-only meetings and all this stuff. Like, where are they going? And whatever they did, they righted the ship, and now everybody is in on whatever Brian Kelly is selling. And this is what happens when you have a coach like this that can actually stand the test of time against Nick Saban, because you talk about second half adjustments. Look at what they did to Jahmyr Gibbs, and like they were getting killed on they were trying to give him the ball almost every play.
He's good,
every
man.
time they needed it.
He's so good.
He is.
I'll say this.
But they started to like almost spy Bryce Young and Jahmyr Gibbs at the same time. Like they would see him come across the middle. Harold Perkins would sit, stay, and then when Bryce tried to break out, that's when he would go. So he took away his like flavor of the month, his favorite play, where he's like, we've always done this when we needed it, and they did it on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8. That's what they went to, and Matt House was able to make the adjustment at halftime to be like, look, just sit for a little bit longer, take that read away, then Harold go get him. And that's exactly what you saw from LSU, and that's coaching. I mean, that really is the difference between any LSU team we've had in the last 15 years.
No. The difference between any LSU team, good LSU teams, hell, the difference between good SEC ball clubs is what do you do during the meat of your schedule, right? Like for the last few years, it's been the, high profile early game, whether it's, really good team or not, whatever it is. And that's kind of been like the trend in college football. But the real meat of your schedule, what are you going to do? They've gone through before the year, think of what you would have thought about this. Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama, Arkansas. That's 6 weeks straight. What would you have been? If start of the year, I think we all would agree. We'd say, hey, if they go 3-3, 4-2 in that situation, I'd be ecstatic. The 4-2 still on the table. They're 4-1 in that, with a chance to take that to 5-1.
Chance to get 6-1.
I'm just talking about through that meat part. You know what I mean? Like that part of the schedule where there is no breaks. There's no UABs. There's no Southerns.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like literally the meat of this is the make or break part of your schedule every year, really. Like, let's be honest. Because everyone in this league, you can lose a game early. Obviously, two stuff. You can lose a game early, but if you do what you need to do through the meat and the back end of the schedule and get yourself to Atlanta, you're in every conversation you need to be in. Right?
No.
Like that's just what the league is. So it's crazy to see that in year one, they're having a chance to go 5-1 through that meat part, and that's impressive.
And it's crazy what I like to see, right? And like we can talk about Brian Kelly. I mean, he's the reason why everybody's talking about it. He's the reason why we're doing this, because he's here. He's putting in his culture, his system, his process, all of those types of things, right? But what everybody talked about. Is he a fit? Is he this? Is he that? They want that. Everything you could. When you get a high profile, you leave a high profile job to go to another high profile job. You're going to be poked and prodded, especially when you weren't that well liked at the other job, right? Like you had this persona about you, you had this perception, and we talked a little bit about this last week about how when you're somewhere for a long time, it's hard to change the perception of yourself, right? You have someone has an impression of you. If you're there for a long time, it's hard to change that impression because you've been there. They've seen you through all the hard stuff, and it's just hard for them to change their mindset, which, right or wrong, it's just the way it is. That's just human nature. His last 4 years or so at Notre Dame, you felt there was a change, right? He changed his personality a little bit. It wasn't as, red-faced, as arrogant, as unlikable as it wasn't, but it was hard for people to kind of grasp that because he was still Brian Kelly, he was still at Notre Dame, whatever. He moves here, right? New place, new first impression, new culture, and the one thing about Louisiana that anybody who's played in New Orleans for the Saints and Baton Rouge for LSU will tell you this. The reason that LSU and Louisiana is so great is because of the people, it's because of the culture, and it's because they embrace you there. If you embrace them, if you embrace us, we embrace you, right? Like if you come in here and you say, hey, listen, I'm not going to turn my nose up to Louisiana because, they're, terrible education. They don't have, it's not the most desirable place to live, all these. But if you really embrace Louisiana for what it is and for the culture it is, for the people that they have, it embraces you, right? And from what I have been seeing is Brian Kelly has done that. And it's kind of what it has done to him, and it's kind of looked like it's brought his personality and it's allowed him to use his personality and be himself without having to be the arrogant, unlikable Brian Kelly. And you saw that culminate at the end of the game against Alabama when he's giving an interview and he's tearing up on the field after a big game, right? Emotional game, a game that he knew is why he came to Baton Rouge. And he's giving this interview and he has these tears are swelling in his eyes, and that's not his personality, or it wasn't his personality. To me, it is his personality now because he's here and he sees
his family.
His family. Right. He sees what the stadium is. He sees what the atmosphere is. He sees that, man, this place is different. And he loves his guys. He believed in his guys. And he trusted his guys to win the game. And they won the game. And to me, that shows the growth that he has made as a head coach. And that shows that we made the right decision.
I'm not sure he would have actually really believed that he had a chance in year one to truly see what Death Valley at night, to truly see.
He's never experienced that.
That's my point. Like, from going through his whole coaching career, I'm not sure he thought he would have actually had that team in a place to really experience all of the true advantages of playing in this league and playing at a place like this, and why, like, okay, this is why I understand why we really couldn't compete like that at Notre Dame against a school like this. I'm not sure he ever thought he was really going to see that in year one, and he has.
And Alec Gay said it perfect. He said, that's why you came here. He goes, hell yeah, that's why I came here, right? Like, that's why. And what I respect is he has not shied away from that. He has not shied away from admitting, yeah, that's why I got there. That's why I came here. I came here because I want to beat Alabama, and I want to consistently beat Alabama, and I want to consistently win national championships, and I want to consistently get to the playoffs. I couldn't do that at Notre Dame because I didn't believe that we had the ability to have the resources and be in the SEC and compete against the best every week. I came here because I had the best opportunity to do it here, and this was the best place to have sustained success. And I respect him for owning that. And I respect him for going out there and continually leaning into that, because if people know your true intentions and people know exactly what you're thinking, they're going to trust you a lot more. Right? Like, how can you go and tell a recruit to come here because, you know, this is the best place to play, but you didn't truly believe that I need to come here to win. Recruits see that. If you're going to do that, I'm going to do that.
And I'll tell you this too, and I do think this is something that's probably pretty important too. I do think he's done over his years of growing, I think he's done a good job, or recently has done a good job of probably separating who he is in the building,
yes,
from the person that he is outside the building. Let's be honest. Let's tell the truth about it now. I think everyone at this point today knows now, like, kind of who Nick Saban is. Bro, you can even go back 5 years ago, and there were still guys who didn't like Nick Saban when it comes to playing for Nick Saban. I just literally saw a couple weeks ago a interview where Najee Harris talked about how he didn't get along with Nick Saban. That's still a thing. So in the building, you're still getting red-faced asshole Nick that brings the best out of you. Seemingly, that's probably what he's still doing, what Brian's still doing. But he's gotten enough wherewithal in him now to kind of start changing his persona and his perception once he steps away from that building.
Listen, coaching people hard is good. Like,
coaching is hard, period.
Yes, and like coaching someone hard is, it's not that he doesn't like the kid or he's trying to berate the kid, but like, just because he coaches him hard doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Nick Saban's done it his whole career. Nick Saban's the greatest college football coach of all time.
I guess my point to it is I guess the reason why I say, like, the whole Nick Saban's persona is accepted now is because he's built a powerhouse. And he's won time and time and time again, where people don't question it anymore. Brian's been questioned because he's never done the top level of winning, right? And now when you kind of come back and you can keep that same persona in the building, but you can kind of change your persona away from the building, it's crazy to see someone able to kind of do those things a little bit.
The craziest part is the timeline got moved up from, 3-4 years to now, right? And like, you're bringing in a recruiting class that's going to be elite.
Yeah.
You have guys coming back that have obviously shown that they're elite. You're bringing back, you're going to have an offensive line that's going to be extreme, that's young and going to get younger, because you're probably going to have freshmen on the offensive line next year. You're going to have guys that are soft. Like, you're going to have a team that is built to continue to grow together, which is unbelievable.
Government street ringtone.
I would love to see what I mean, it's November right now until signing day. I'd love to see how many guys could possibly flip and decommit and commit here.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if
a lot of steam on the horizon.
Well, I don't know how much they're going to try to go for flipping, but I think you're going to get a lot of love in the transfer portal. I mean, obviously because of there's a debacle going on at A&M, which I still think is a live dog because they've
in a way that's still flipping though, right?
Yeah, right.
You still have to.
It's just a different way of looking at it. But I think that you're going to see a lot of those Louisiana guys that look at that and they go, "Damn, I want to be there instead of midnight fucking Yale practice." Like
that's what I remember. That's what I grew up watching.
Right.
Yes, this is LSU.
Yeah.
That place. That's what I'm saying. There's at LSU.
Damn, Brian Kelly's letting them have fun. Like I thought Brian Kelly was not going to let them do anything.
And that's I think that goes to the bigger point of what Brian I don't want to say maturation, but it's like the realization of where he is. Like he knew how big that game was, but personally to him, he's never beaten Alabama. He's had to face Nick Saban, go in there and go, "We might get."
It's not. He hasn't gotten close either.
He's looked he's probably watched film and realized like, okay, I'm the coach. Like I have to believe that we can win this. But like deep down, like they have better athletes.
I can tell you right now.
We have to play perfect.
I can tell you.
It's gonna be hard.
Hey, listen. I can tell you right now, and this is the only. I think this was my biggest like welcome to the difference in between like here and the difference in between a school like that was I like really remember my freshman year. The Sugar Bowl against Notre Dame, right?
All of our voices are cooked.
Oh, it's done. Mine's been cooked since Friday.
Mine's not as bad as I thought.
But listen, I can remember us getting film to watch them, and this was the team that still had a top draft pick in Brady Quinn. They still had Jeff Samardzija at receiver, if you remember those names at all. I remember we put this video on of that team.
Tom Zbikowski.
And everyone kind of looked around and was like, "Yo, this is who we playing?"
Yeah.
They don't belong. Like, just from watching film, you were like, they don't belong on the field with us. Right? So, like, just seeing it that easily then, like, I know it hasn't changed much, right? And I think he understood that and was like, I have to get here if I want to be able to take things to that next level.
And I think that's kind of like kudos to, Holly Rowe for being able to, like, kind of point that out because I'm sure she was shocked at, like, he's, like, being emotional. Like, I've done plenty of games with Brian Kelly where he's like, this is not who he is. But that's kind of what Louisiana does to you, right? Don't you feel like you get enveloped in the culture? And he's like, I feel like I finally, like, I love it here. Like, I'm so excited.
And you got to buy into it, too.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's some quotes of him where he's like, I've never been a part of an environment like this. Like, this is, like, his opening statement was like, you know, he shouted out the team, coaches, whatever. He's like, and next, the environment that I was just a part of as the head coach at LSU, I didn't know that existed. And you could see him kind of take it all in, and like, as an LSU fan, my entire life.
Did you see him on the field before that last like play touch like that? But before they won the game, no, but he walked away, and like
took it in.
Kind of looked up, like
yeah,
self-aware, bro, self-aware. He's the most self-aware. Now, I say most self-aware. He's the most self-aware coach we've had since Saban. Right? Like he understands who he is. He understands this moment in the situation. Like, that is a special thing.
And I think that's what I'm saying. Like, when LSU was right, and we're in a good spot right now if you're an LSU fan because I've lived through both of it, like the come up once, and then LSU kind of turned into the Alabama where it's like, oh, we're not going to go to the game. Like, LSU's going to win, whatever. People are falling out. This is the best part of being an LSU fan is the come up when everybody's bought in. Like, I was at that game, Jared. I was at that game the entire time, and nobody sat down. Like, everybody was on tilt the entire time. I don't think anybody peed unless they peed their pants because ain't nobody going anywhere.
Right.
Except for, and there's a million reviews. There's, all these clock stoppages. All of these things that they're kind of trying to tilt. You can feel it, and you're like, all right, whatever. And then it just turned into, this place is on tilt. It's LSU versus everybody right now. And Brian Kelly was like, oh my God. Like, that's why he went for 2. He's like,
first of all,
fuck this. We're going to win.
Right call. Even if he misses it, right call. Like, you pay $100 million call for the 2-point. Like, that was 1,000,000% the right call in the right moment. And had Florida State not happened, maybe he kicks it. But I think with everything that happened, how he scored, the momentum that we had, in the end zone that we were in, like.
And you know what's so funny about that last play is like the little nuances of it. I think they were running a play. I think in his mind, he was the only person that knew that I'm calling timeout before this thing because he realized he ran all the way down there.
Saban called timeout.
They both did.
Oh,
they both called
did.
timeouts,
That's
but
right.
Saban beat him down the field. We got to BK. We got don't get beat by a 70-year-old now.
Well, either way, my point is I don't think Jayden and them knew that they were not going to run that play.
Oh, yeah.
I think that they were running the play that was
play.
called, and he wanted to see. So he wanted all of the I want you to believe that we're running this. I want them to believe that we're running this. So I'm not going to tell you that I'm calling timeout before this after they show the look. I'm just going to run down there and do it. And I think stuff like that's like really cool because then obviously they had a plan for what they wanted to be called at that section. Like, I'm going to show you this look. I'm going to see what you do with it. And this is the player that we really want. That's chess, not checkers.
And you know what? The best part about that is when he sent Mason Taylor in motion here, and he sent him back, and he saw the guy chase him. He said, "It's over."
It's over.
In his head, he's like, and Jayden Daniels said,
"I'm telling you right now, Coach. I watched it on TV, and I saw him coming back. I was like, he's outflanking him. There's no chance."
Because
it didn't even have to throw it. I was like, "Let the ball go now." Yeah. Like I was like, "Please let it go." Yeah. Like there's no way this is not going to be a touchdown.
You saw him chasing him in man coverage. You knew he had to get. If you're chasing this tight end, he's being in the flat. You obviously have to go through some traffic to get there. Yeah. So you knew he had to go through the two receivers and the two cornerbacks to get there. And honestly, kudos to that guy because he actually made a good play. Made a very good play to make it.
He did. And I'll tell you this too. Like that's what's also really cool when you really talk about like coaching and out coaching and who got. We kind of out coached Alabama at that point. I don't know if you really remember, but there was a 13th man or 12th man that was sprinting off the field
after timeout.
I'm just on that very play was sprinting off the field because they were out of sorts right there.
Yeah. And the entire crowd realized it because now. I don't know what's happening with the LSU fan base. I don't know if they're more educated or now they're paying like a ton of attention because I don't know what's going on. But they saw the 12th man sprinting off. They're like, hike it. I was like, no, let's
like, that's not gonna matter.
Because we had LSU has to play. We don't need to call it. We don't need to rush one. We don't need to do anything. We don't want to show them what we're doing because LSU has ran a version of that play a lot. But it's always Mason Taylor coming all the way across and then going. He stuttered. Went back, and that's what got him. It just one little feint left, a little rub.
They're about to say they've kind of ran
that play a lot.
No. They've ran a version of that play with Mason this year a lot in that game. Even in that game with Kayshawn, same stuff where it's the sprint out the same way, and they finally brought it back the other way.
I love it here.
I mean, yeah, but obviously that play, like he had that play, he didn't think about it. There wasn't any hesitation. It was the right call, right? The touchdown in overtime, if you can go back and watch that video and go watch Brian Thomas.
I said go watch the effort by the guys downfield.
Go see where Eli Ricks was.
Oh, my God.
Brian Thomas put Eli Ricks in the first row of the
effort that
section.
you got downfield was unbelievable.
You see Josh Williams, Superman block the guy, was it the cornerback, number 15, who had an unbelievable game for them. Yep. He was playing great. Superman blocked this guy, knocks him on the ass, and Jayden Daniels runs free.
He didn't get touched, Coach?
Didn't get touched.
25 yards.
25 yards, first play of overtime, because your receiver has bought in to what the bigger picture and put this guy who was his teammate
run a bench
last year. Actually, no. Not Brian Thomas' teammate last year. Brian Thomas
Nobody
was
was Jaden's teammate last year.
No. I'm talking about Eli Ricks.
Oh, yeah, they were. He's a sophomore.
That's right. Brian Thomas, he was a sophomore. So, Brian Thomas put his former teammate into the front row of the stadium, blocked him out of the field of play, right? The other guy who's been making plays all day, your walk-on running back, who's had a great game, by the way, leaps and Superman blocks this guy to the ground. And Jayden Daniels runs free on the biggest play at the time of the game.
I'm telling you right now, they ran that play, especially in that situation, knowing that, hey, they just scored, right? So we have to be able to kind of put ourselves.
We're gonna get this a little tempo.
Bro, they wanted 5 to 7 yards on that play.
Yep. If you got a first down, great.
Give us 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2 right here. 2nd and 2 would be great. No, they got a touchdown.
No, because the guys.
They got 25 yards.
The guys blocked it the way they needed to block it.
And don't you think that went into the decision to go for 2? When it's like, obviously we're in a back and forth game. We can talk about the officials if you want.
I don't. You know what I really think the decision to go for 2 was? I think it was overtime started. He said, if they score, I want to beat them.
Yep.
Like right now.
Yep.
I think he made the decision before
he knew it.
If we score, we're going to beat them right now.
I think he knew if we got. I think he saw the game playing out the way it was playing out, and he said, if we got. if they scored, if LSU was down 7 points before overtime, scores with 1 second left in the game, they're going for 2 there too. I don't even think they go to overtime. Like, I think he kind of saw how the game was getting played out, and if it got to that situation and we had one play to win the game, this is the play we're running, and we're gonna do it. One of the things that we talked about before the game, right? We talked about the rushing attack, how Alabama doesn't give up any they're very good against the run. They don't give up a ton of rushing yards, right?
And they still didn't.
They still didn't, right? Jayden Daniels had 18 for 95 yards, which is great, right?
25 of that came after them.
Right. You had the 25-yard. You had a 31-yard run and a 25-yard run. So, out of those 95 yards, more than half of them came on 2 runs, right? Which is great. That's part of the game. That's what happens. But what we talked about, and what we thought was the biggest thing is like, hey, you don't need the run game to run for 200, 250 yards.
Nope.
Average
you
6.
Need this man as your coach.
You needed to be respectful.
You need to be respected, and you need to have a guy to be able to run the right, like make the runs when you needed them the most, right? To make the runs when you needed a first down.
Yep.
We needed 3 or 4 yards, and Josh Williams did that. They ran the ball on the game tying touchdown drive, or the go ahead touchdown drive, on 3rd and 7.
I said it was a 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7, right? Yeah.
And he got 8 or 9 yards on the run.
Yeah.
Because he knew he was going for it on 4th down, but ran the ball on 3rd and 7 when I had to have it drive. And he got the first down. That's the running game we were talking about going into the game. That's how you have to beat Alabama. Is you have to be able to make those runs in the moments when you need them. When they know that, they didn't know they were going. But when you know they're going to run, you have to run it.
They're too good and they're too well coached for you to be put in predictable situations. So if you can't run the ball, then you're really putting yourself in a predictable situation. You have to make them respect the run. Not so much have to absolutely dominate them and run for 250 on them. You got to make them respect the run, and that's what they did.
And I'm about to pull up a Brian Kelly quote here of like why they asked him why he decided to go for 2 in the play that he liked, and I feel like this is kind of the mentality that y'all are talking about. What he was going like, this is why we're going for it because this is why we're here. Like I trust the guys that I have, and then if you're gonna tell me I have one play to beat Alabama and that's all it took, I would take that chance. And for Brian Kelly to talk like that, that's my kind of guy. I didn't know, I was didn't know what Brian Kelly we were going to get. And if we're going to get this Brian Kelly that says, hey, 50-50 shot, I'll take my chance every day of the week. And here it is. Nope.
Well, as I thought about it, it was, it was a decision at that moment. I just felt as I thought about it, if we could boil this game down to one play and win this game before the game started, if you asked me, hey, I'm going to give you one play, and if you're successful on that one play, you beat Alabama, I would have taken that 100 times out of 100. And so at that moment, it kind of hit me that way, and I knew we had a really good play that we hadn't used and they hadn't seen. And when you get 5 out on the perimeter, you truly have a threat. And so I felt really good about the play, and it was well executed, and that was the thought behind it. Well, first,
2 things that I love about that, right, and the way how he explained it. As a player, 2 things that give a player, especially a young player, confidence is putting your trust in the guys on the field to make a play, 1, and 2, being extremely confident in what you're doing and what you're calling, right? Like, hey, we're gonna do this and we're gonna make this thing happen. This is why it's going to work. I'm putting the trust in your hands to make a play because you've done it all game. Those 2 things, if you give that to your team, like, you're gonna have a lot of success because you're giving the ability to the guys who have done it, have been in the trenches all game, and you have confidence in what you're doing. You're not second guessing yourself.
So, and I guess for me, that's why I was asked after the game, like pretty much right after the game, if I liked the call, or actually as it was going on, and I didn't. And it was only for one reason, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, if you're telling these guys basically the message you're putting out there, if this is like a knee-jerk decision, if you're telling these guys that you basically don't believe to go toe-to-toe with them and beat them and like legit just beat them, it's hard for me to buy into that mindset here. But if in your mind and or verbally discussed and given to the players, you told them going into that overtime session or anything. Like, if we get a chance to score and beat them, we're beating them. I love it.
Love it.
Absolutely,
and that's what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, that's what he said. He came out, said, "Hey, I knew if we got in this situation, because the way overtime works in college, it makes sense the way he did it. Because you go and you play out, you go to the second overtime, you go and score a touchdown. Alabama scored. Now, boom, you're in your third overtime. Now it's 2-point conversions.
You have to do it anyway, and they flip it in. Wouldn't we have gotten the ball first in the second overtime? Yeah, so then now they get a chance to basically put you in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like just the way college overtimes work. When you have that opportunity to do that, and you have a play that you know or you feel like is going to be a winning play, you run it.
Yeah.
And I was with you, Jared, for like while I was watching the game in the, obviously in the stands. I was, dude, you're at home. Not a lot of people would make this maneuver to where like, hey, I'm gonna keep the crowd with me. Like that's what he was thinking whenever it was, 22 seconds left in the fourth quarter with 2 timeouts, and you take a knee. And it's like, you got the home crowd on your side, but he's like, no, I want to get to overtime because we have the home crowd. Like, let's reset, give myself a second, and we can start, kind of devising up a little bit of a scheme. But in that same vein, whenever he was going for 2, I was like, don't you want to keep that same energy, whatever? But when you take a step back and look at how the whole thing developed with the way that Alabama was able to get a touchdown after a Mekhi Wingo maybe tipped ball, was supposed to, that was the 3rd down. It would have been 4th down. They probably have to kick. And you're like, okay, we held them to a field goal. That's the whole point of deferring in the entire time because you give away the student section. So you go back into that game and then you score on the first play. You're like, I don't like the way that any of this is playing out. I'm going to put my nuts on the table right now, and they're either going to love me or hate me. But then he had another quote where he said, I feel like everybody in Tiger Stadium was riding with me. He was like, they weren't going to be mad if I didn't get this or not, and I could pull it up and let it from the horse's mouth, if you will.
Absolutely.
But,
another thing he said, which we'll talk about that after this, but Harold Perkins is a monster, and I think everybody already knew that. We've talked about it ad nauseum, how good he is and how much he needs to be on the field. He played 67 snaps, the most he's played. He would have played more had he not come out for cramps. And I'll say this, when he came out, and I think Micah Baskerville has played great this year. I think he's been a very good linebacker. When he went out, Micah took his role as the spy. And he can run. He's a sideline-to-sideline linebacker. But that was the drive that Alabama went down and scored. And it's because what Harold Perkins does as a spy and how quickly he closes the gap when you get out of pocket it's unteachable almost. Like
when he shoots the gun, it's a different.
It's just instinctive, and it's like you can't teach that. And so like that's not anything to say anything bad about Micah because he's a great linebacker and he's played very well and he's much needed on this team. But just that shows you how special Harold Perkins is. And I just want to read the quote that Brian Kelly had about Harold Perkins. He said he's a bit of a throwback. He just wants to know what he's asked to do, and he'll go out there and do it and figure it out. He doesn't need a lot of whys. Just tell me what I need to go do, and I'll go do it. I fucking love that. Hey,
Simple
Coach,
Simon.
get me out there. Tell me what you want. I'm going to go do it.
Simple Simon. I like it.
Because you're that athletic, that means he's so athletic. And now, obviously, not everybody can do that.
Well, that means he doesn't cloud this either.
Exactly.
He just plays.
Exactly.
One speed.
And I think that's a lot of why, people were clamoring for him to play a lot more, obviously. But this is what I said earlier today on Colada Show. It's like, there's a reason, we've talked about this in here. What do you think the coaches are watching every week of practice? He wasn't ready to digest all of that information at once.
No.
I know how much everybody wanted to see him, but they set him up to succeed early. And now you got a bye weekend. Now he's able to get more of that information. And it's like, I think Perk's ready.
And
you saw him shine.
And understand, next year, I'm not sure, that role will be expanded. They'll ask him to do more. They'll ask him to move around so you can't scheme him out of plays as much. So those things grow, but you couldn't have asked for that so early on into the season because he wasn't ready for that yet. And once they started finding out, I don't even know if I can say that he wasn't ready for it yet, but they hadn't brought him along far enough to actually put him in those situations. And when they finally got exposed by a team that phased him out of the game, they realized no more. Yep. We can't do that anymore. We can't do that anymore.
People aren't talking enough about BJ Ojulari. He had a monster game.
Great game.
Monster game.
There was a lot of talk about, obviously, like, they made the decision to put both of them on the field at the same time. And you could see what they were doing towards and this is another, I think, in my mind, a Matt House adjustment. I might be wrong. We'll find out on Cassie's Clicker tomorrow with Coach Kasky on the old Colada show. We'll figure it out. But it felt like they did a lot of, hey, BJ, you push him this way. Harold, you wait. Whenever he gets flushed, then you go. And those two on opposite ends at the same time of the field, you're looking at clones of each other where you're like, I'm just seeing this. I'm seeing ghosts. I'm seeing 18. Now I'm seeing 40, and it looks like the same player. Like, I don't know where to go with the ball. And credit to Bryce Young, that last touchdown that they scored at the end of the fourth quarter, that's a Heisman winner. That's what they do. Like, great players make great plays.
And that's what I was saying. Like, people are like, oh, we got a sack. I'm like, listen to me, man. This guy is a first-round quarterback. He won the Heisman. He's going to make a play.
He's the best improviser in college football right now. And you saw it on that play.
I mean, he's just...
So you tip your hat.
Right. That's all you can do. Like, and it happens. And even whenever...
That play was so dead that both of the defenders were literally not even in the picture when he threw the ball.
Dude,
because they had broken
guys were running, but they were holding each other's hands.
They thought it was over.
Hey, we open. Oh, shit, he's throwing the ball to me.
Yeah.
But that kind of stuff, like, for him to be able to do that, like a Houdini act, essentially, is what makes a Heisman winner. But for LSU to be able to find, like, get the one more play. You saw it against Auburn.
That's it.
Whatever, last year.
Winning
plays. Bo Nix. Like, B.J. Ojulari had him hemmed up, couldn't get him.
How many times have you seen that, too, here? Whether it was Alabama, whoever the hell we might be playing to and have lost the game, right? How many times have you seen it late in the game where we give up the big play and then we don't go back down
We don't have
the
the opportunity to have the big play. And, like, as it's happening, I'm like, damn, I've seen this movie before. I've seen them go down there and make a big play. I've seen us not be able to, like, it knocks the one out of us. Then I've seen us go down there and we have the touchdown. Then you see the kicker kick the ball out of bounds. I'm like, well, I've literally seen that exact play where we kicked the ball out of bounds with 40 seconds left and no time. They have no timeouts and they beat us on a screen pass to TJ Yeldon. Like, you've seen that, right? But what happens is, hey, no matter what happens, no matter what adversity they had gone through, somebody stepped up. Alabama goes, kicks a field goal in overtime. Okay, we didn't lose. We have an opportunity. You go. I want to read this stat, right? So Harold Perkins had 67 snaps, according to PFF. That's 30 more than his previous high. What's extremely impressive, and we talked about this before the year, I was like, man, he reminds me of, like, he could be like our Micah Parsons, right? And I was like, he just seems like he's so versatile and, like, he can rush the passer. 23 snaps off the edge, 23 in the slot, 21 in the box. It's pretty good. That's a weapon to have on the field.
Versatile.
To be able to put him anywhere you want and him to be able to be that effective. And you have a first rounder in B.J. Ojulari.
And I'll go back to the point that we were literally just making before. I think it's so Brian talked about early in the year that he wanted to see a little more quote unquote risky play from him, right? Basically. I've said it from day one of the start of the year. I've literally said it. You can go back and run the tape back about the Florida State game. And I was like, man, the one thing I still haven't seen that kid do yet is literally take us out of ball games. He hasn't lost us ball games. And once again, showed up, hasn't lost his ball games, doesn't turn the ball over, is very, 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 very thoughtful about how he values the football. And that becomes a huge thing when you play big games like this because as you've seen it during the year, he's gotten to be a better quarterback. But he has not lost that value that he has in keeping the football.
Here's my question.
It plays huge.
How many balls have you even seen that were close to being interceptions?
None. You haven't seen bonehead decisions. You may not like that he took off early, but you haven't seen him throw it into triple coverage. You haven't seen him throw it into double coverage without a chance to be completed.
Hey, sometimes the best play on the offense is just taking a sack, right? And he does that well. He doesn't take a bunch of big sacks because he tries to get out. He may have a sack that's losing two yards. Right. Like, there's times where he took a sack and you're like, okay, live to fight another down, right? Like, live to go out there and make a play because – you don't feel like just because it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13
He's
that
never
like
out the game.
You're out of it, right? Because hey, one busted assignment on pressure to him and he gets a seam, boom, first down.
And I'll say this too, I feel like there needs to be props given to these guys because we talked about them before the game and we really haven't really spoken about them since. But I got to imagine that a huge emphasis on the week was not to let the game record wreck the game. And he made plays because he's that damn good.
Right.
But he didn't wreck the game. And that goes to the offensive line play and how well they played up front.
Absolutely.
And how, I mean, you talk about living to play another down. Bryce Young did the same thing. What did he do? 25 of 51. He threw it away.
It is
the
the worst game I've seen that kid play.
And he still played well.
Yep. And he completed under 50% of his passes in that game.
Yep. It's unbelievable.
That defense.
Defense played well. Listen, Bernard Converse doesn't get enough talk. Doesn't get talked enough about. Man.
Versatile.
Well, versatile one,
Hostile.
but like he puts some balls.
What is pain?
You want some more?
Are you gonna keep going? I'm waiting.
What is fatigue? Army clothes. What is pain? French bread.
It like the play in the end zones, right? Like the 2-point conversions, knocking balls out. The play on the sideline when they held him to the field goal, right? And the end of the game, have to have it. 3rd and 10, guys open, guy kind of bobbles it, but probably still going to catch it, get the hand in there, tight coverage. Like the plays that needed to be made were made, and he made a lot of them in the secondary. And you didn't have a lot of like. Now we talked about it. Alabama doesn't have that guy. Or the guy hasn't proven himself to go and take it over the top. Who was the guy here talking about? Did he even see the field?
I don't think so.
Let's say, did he see the field?
Well, I didn't know they were going to play the woman beater, Jermaine Burton, who's out there catching 3rd downs all the time. Some guy on the field had a sign that said, Nick Saban supports domestic abuse. And Taylor Technique had his camera. He's like, well, can't put that on there. I was like, dude, this place is unhinged. You can't take a lot of this content.
No, but like... You have like they haven't had a guy that can take the top off the defense, right?
It's all on Bryce Young,
right? And so you didn't have to worry. You didn't have that. You didn't see a bunch of busted coverages. You didn't see a bunch of guys running free. And he has some crossing routes, but listen, these guys are good. Bryce Young's good. Like he's gonna make those things, but they made things difficult for him.
Very difficult for him.
Like you just had guys like. Making plays in the secondary. You had Malik Neighbors making contested catches. Kayshawn making contested catches.
3rd and 8.
Whether it was a win by 1, a win by 7, a loss by 14 before the year, if I told you they came into this game and that Jayden would completely outplay Bryce on the stat sheet, you'd say no. You'd say no chance. And he did.
No turnovers. Bryce had the big turnover early in the game.
Bryce threw for more yards, but no turnovers.
You had a guy, quarterback almost ran for 100, ran for the winning touchdown, threw for 2 more.
Plus 900.
That was a nice hit by you.
Thank you.
Man.
It just feels so good.
Feels good. Feels great.
Love it here.
Let's take like a 30-second break. Right?
Okay.
Can we take a little,
sure,
take a little breather?
Absolutely.
That's an hour straight.
I did want to. Do you want to get into the 2-point conversion thing?
Yeah.
You want to do that after the break? Because I feel like that would Nick Saban going for two times. Because I understand he said I have a play sheet. Like I understand how the math works and why they were doing it. But if you kick it both times, that doesn't happen. I understand that.
The first one was to get for 3 points. The second one was to go up by 6. Which...
Right. No, both times he did it made sense. Total sense. But I'm saying, for all the risk or all the credit that Brian Kelly is getting for going for 2, I'd imagine what's going on in Alabama is why did Nick Saban do this whenever we could just won the game straight up? Like, that's what the narrative, I don't think it would have been here in Baton Rouge because...
Yeah, but I think that's, I don't know how much, because I haven't heard that narrative. Well, you didn't. I'm not in Tuscaloosa,
yeah,
so
I was about to say, you
narrative.
didn't even say those, like, you know, like, you're not hearing those narratives. I don't think those are as strong as you think.
Maybe in Tuscaloosa because they're a little delusional about some of the things that happen over there, but to me, that's not... That didn't lose the like. That's hindsight. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. I don't like to play.
Those
hindsight,
were good football plays in the time being.
And my bigger point is how impressive it was for LSU to be able to lock back in right after. Like even the defense realized those are used sometimes. Like dude, the whole crowd's down. They weren't. They got right back and like, dude, this is a massive play. Like our LSU fan base is getting pretty fucking educated over here, and they're like, wait, hold on, I'm doing the math up here. We got to get a stop, and then for LSU to realize that and the defense to not get down, they're like, hold on, if we make a stop here, we're still right back in this thing. Like, they understand the importance of these 2-point plays whenever, you know, it's innocuous when it, you know, oh, he knocked it away, cool. But the whole fan base was you have to make a stop here because you're starting to like understand the math of it all and play in the scoreboard. And Nick Saban tried to do the same thing, but for people to not get dejected, that's what reminded me of Georgia 2003, where it's like we ain't sitting down. We're right back up with the boys. Like, that's what you have to do in those games like that. LSU played nearly perfect except for one gaffe. And we all know what that was, and I'd laid down in the stadium. I was just like, I can't believe this is happening again. Same corner where Jarvis caught it by the pylon. Mason Taylor, same catch, and then you just, same pylon, kick it right out of bounds right at me.
We talked before the leading up to the game, before the weeks leading up, we talked about the run game a little bit, but we talked about how important it was to make tackles, right? Like not allowing Jahmyr Gibbs or the wide receivers or guys to like slip out of tackles, right? And like you knew like there was gonna be a couple times where they did it just because they're very talented and they're good. We tackled for the most part, 90% of the time, 95% of the time in the game. If they got their hands on somebody, they tackled them, right? They were going down. One play in particular, and we talked about Bernard Converse. Ball in the flat, left side of the field. Is either, I don't know if it was a running back, I don't know if it was Gibbs or wide receiver. Catches it. Converse breaks down in front of him, right? Like open field tackle. Like
one-on-one.
You have room, like he has room left and right. He has a couple yards to like get by him. Breaks down, makes a tackle. Doesn't get him by him, doesn't miss a tackle, doesn't get ahead of himself. Like, to me, that was just a microcosm of the game, right? Hey, this is my assignment. My job is to tackle you. My job is to be in position to tackle you. I'm not going to get out of position, and I'm going to tackle you, right? And that's what happened. Great game.
That and the Major Burns chase down with the cowboy collar.
Just little things. Those didn't win the game. Those didn't win the game, but
like there's
but those add up.
A lot of things, a lot of little things add up to big things, and that was just the all-out effort. And I don't think the conditioning staff is. I mean, they're getting a lot of flowers, but to see Mekhi Wingo out there every play, Harold Perkins, who played how many snaps?
67.
When he played
double of anything else he's ever done.
Yeah, he played 38. That was the most snaps he's ever played, and for him, he was first time he's ever breathed heavy in his life, and he
got cramped up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And for them to be able to get those guys still back in there, that's the difference. That's what a winning team looks like. That's what culture is. Like, they're building something special. And for Brian Kelly to get that win over Alabama in his first attempt, I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the year, but that one I'll take with me for the rest of my life.
No doubt. All right, let's take a little minute break. Regroup. Take a deep breath.
Watch the game again.
We're going to put maybe put the Saints game on TV in a little bit. All right, you're watching Miked Up. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Still got a lot to talk about. We'll still talk a little more LSU. Got some Saints talk. Got some Saints talk. Going to talk about going into this weekend a little bit. We're not going to really get too much into that until about Wednesday. Also, before we go into break, and we'll say this again on Wednesday, we are not going to have a show this Friday from Uncle Earl's. Jared Mitchell has an event this weekend that I will be.
We're not doing it from Uncle Earl's. We're doing it live from.
We're doing it live from South Beach.
From South Beach.
Live from the beach.
I don't know how good that would be.
Sweet.
I don't know how good that would be, but hey, we'll see. All right, Miked Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We'll be back in 1 minute. Today's show is brought to you by Dos Equis. Here in Louisiana, we like to have a great time. If you're looking to be the life of the tailgate, check out Dos Equis mini kegs. Hold 16 beers, easy to tap, easy to pour, easy to chill. Check it out. Become a life of the party. You're welcome. Today's show is brought to you by Dos Equis. Here in Louisiana, we like to have a great time. If you're looking to be the life of the tailgate, check out Dos Equis mini kegs. Hold 16 beers, easy to tap, easy to pour, easy to chill. Check it out. Become a life of the party. You're welcome. Today's show is brought to you by Dos Equis. Here in Louisiana, we like to have a great time. If you're looking to be the life of the tailgate, check out Dos Equis mini kegs. Hold 16 beers, easy to tap, easy to pour, easy to chill. Check it out. Become a life of the party. You're welcome. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. That was the most pitiful countdown in Spanish I've ever heard in my entire life.
I never learned.
You did it because of Dos Equis. I know why you did it.
Exactly. I was trying to shout out our sponsors.
Shout out to our sponsors.
I never learned Spanish.
That's obvious.
Obvious.
I had to take it.
We know.
Took 2 years of it.
In high school?
But my baseball coach.
There wasn't much you learned in there.
I took 2 years of it in high school, too.
He learned that I could bat 5-hole and hit 400, so didn't have to fucking worry about the test.
So you telling me you didn't go to class then?
No, I went to class. He gave it to me with the answers already circled. He said, just don't tell anybody.
So you're outing him.
But you just told everybody.
I think the statute.
All right, well, make sure you don't tell Lloyd your secrets.
I didn't say his name.
Is he still coaching?
I'm pretty sure they can figure out what his name was.
All right, well.
He's dead.
Let's. Okay. Well, you didn't have to go there.
Oh,
we were talking about LSU, talking about how awesome the game was, and like we can sit here and talk all night about everything that went on, right? Because it was a magical, electric night. There was a ton of people there. You had former players. Obviously, Shaq was in the building. You just had a bunch of energy in the crowd, right? LSU obviously had lost to Florida State. They probably, looking back now, you play them, they probably won by 3 or 4 touchdowns. But
I would love to line that up again.
But with that said, LSU is ranked 7th in the AP poll, right? The second hour of the show, we're going to talk a lot about the landscape of college football. Now, I told you we're going to talk a little Saints. I don't know how much you want to hear about the Saints, but I like the Saints, so we're going to talk a little bit about them. And they're playing a big game tonight. But before we get there, let's talk about the landscape of college football and how this playoff's going to be.
Do you think Harold Perkins could go to the NFL next year?
I mean, physically, yeah, but no.
I know legally, but it's like a Maurice Clarett situation where, like, he's clearly somebody would draft him right now.
Yeah, but I mean, you want the guy Eagles
would love him.
That is the biggest fan take I think I've heard in a while.
Like, it's not about physical. It's not about the physicality. It's about learning the game. Like you just talked about, hey, it's taking him this long to get him on the field.
His first time playing 50 snaps in the game, and now you want him in the draft in the league.
Get him in the NFL. Let him learn a little bit.
Oh, he needs to learn college.
I was trying to tie in the Saints and the Eagles and the draft picks. The Eagles have the Saints pick, which is now sitting at 5 or 6.
Yeah, but they're not drafting him this year.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but they could if they would.
Well, let's get to the college football landscape, right? College football playoff, something that we didn't think that LSU was going to be relevant in this year. We didn't think that we were going to be in this conversation, but we are.
Yep.
They are right in the mix. They go and take care of business this weekend, which we all think is going to happen. And you go ahead and you beat UAB, and you go to A&M to end the season, and you take care of business there. You end the season at 10-2. You go to the SEC championship game, and you play Georgia. Georgia's obviously the number 1 team. AP.
First off, you can even go back because they own the tiebreakers.
You can lose one.
They can technically lose. But for the college playoff.
Yeah, for the purpose of making the playoffs, if you lose one, you're out, obviously, the playoff. But the AP, the college football playoff poll hasn't come out yet. It's coming out tomorrow. AP poll came out. Georgia's 1, Ohio State's 2, Michigan's 3, TCU is 4, Tennessee's 5. Oregon's 6, LSU is 7, right? USC's 8, UCLA's 9, Alabama's 10. That's the top 10. So outside of that, nobody else is really going to be in contention.
That you still got Ohio State and Michigan that have to play each other.
So
I'm pretty sure USC still has to play UCLA and so
USC and Oregon have to play.
And I still think they have to play UCLA too.
I think you're right. Oregon already played UCLA, correct?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Georgia's going to be in, right? I think Georgia's going to run.
I don't know, dude.
Georgia's going to run the table. Let's say Georgia runs the table, regular season table. If they lose an SEC game and then lose to us in the SEC championship game, they're out.
If they run, I'm not saying that it's definite. I'm just saying if we run the table and then we get to the SEC championship and we beat them, what if Tennessee runs the table and it's super convincing? and then maybe a USC runs the table.
I think Georgia. If Tennessee runs the table and they go 11-1, and Georgia loses in the SEC championship game, I think Georgia's in over Tennessee.
I'm just saying that
No
there's
doubt.
a good chance they're out. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's
Georgia or Tennessee?
Georgia.
If they lose in the SEC championship, they're still.
That's what I think because they're not going to take. LSU will be in with.
I'm not convinced, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. Because of what Tennessee's done so far this year, because of 3/4 of that game being played in a torrential downpour.
No, I get what
if they run the rest of the season, the last little month of the season, and the last thing you see is Georgia getting beat by a 2-loss team, I think there's a very strong possibility that they could say, "Hey, Georgia's out."
I get what you're saying.
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying it's possible.
I get what you're saying. I think Georgia would be in. Let's just say.
I'm not saying I don't think they will. I'm just saying it's very possible. We never saw LSU being ranked 10th.
Right. No doubt. I'm not saying it's not. I agree. It's possible. Right. So before we get to the SEC championship game, Ohio State and Michigan have to play. I believe that if Ohio State beats Michigan, whoever loses that game, I think is out. Yeah. I think the way the committee has voted in the past, if Michigan beats Ohio State, they're going to want to try to put Ohio State in. Just the way they've voted in the past. And I think this would be the 1 year since the playoff
game's out.
I agree. But I think this is the 1 year. I'm just playing all angles. The 1 year that the college football committee can say, oh, the Big Ten's going to get 2 teams in this year and not the SEC because Ohio State and Michigan are ranked in the top 5 or top 4, 2 and 3, and they beat each other. And does the Big Ten have a championship game?
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm with you. I think the loser's out, but I think the committee's going to try to do something.
So I'm glad because I don't. I think the loser of that one's out regardless.
Okay.
And I think because of you have a reemerged USC, because you still got a 1-loss UCLA, which that's all going to play itself out, because you still got a 1-loss Oregon, I think one of those end up slipping in one of those went out, which is going to take one of those the two Big 12 teams out.
TCU is 9-0. TCU is ranked 4th in the country, right? And as far as the AP, right now they would be in the playoff if this is how the college football. They play at Texas next week. I think Texas can beat them. I think they will beat them.
Texas is favored by 6.5.
Yeah. I think Texas wins that game too. And if they don't win, I think they play. I think it's going to be a good game.
I think Texas wins. So if Texas beats TCU, TCU's out, right? So TCU's out. So that would make
Oregon gets the slide back in.
So Oregon's ahead of us
Georgia
in the AP.
42-3.
But Oregon plays USC, who is ranked behind us, right? And then USC has to play UCLA. I don't think that people are very high on the Big 12 or the Pac-12. I think that, Pac-12 is going to be on the fringe. I don't know if they're going to get voted in. Now, if you have Georgia with a loss, Ohio State with a loss, Michigan with a loss, Tennessee with a loss, LSU winning the SEC with 2 losses, I think all of those teams are going to be voted in above USC and Oregon.
I think it's a really funny situation that you could possibly have a 1-loss Tennessee, a 1-loss Georgia, a 2-loss LSU, and a 2-loss. I really think Bama's out of it at this point.
Bama's out.
But those 3 for sure. I think it'll be really funny that they're gonna have a real argument that all 3 of those belong in.
Here's the thing.
In the playoffs.
Here's the thing. We've seen Michigan and we've seen Ohio State slip up to other teams outside of each other, right? Can you imagine if something happened, if some crazy shit happened, and TCU gets kicked out, right? And Ohio State and Michigan, let's say one of those 2 get kicked out. And let's say USC loses to UCLA, UCLA gets upset, Oregon loses to USC too. Boom, Pac-12's out. Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, and Ohio State.
I'm just telling you right now, if SEC somehow gets 3 teams or 3 real, legitimate conversations about 3 teams, they might move that playoff system back up a year. Say, hey, man, we're going to open this thing up to 12 next year, man.
And I think that's kind of, if you're a part of college football, if you're the SEC commissioner, which it feels like he is the commissioner of the NCAA, which I don't know if it exists anymore. I don't know what they're doing. But it feels like if you're Greg Sankey, you're sitting back going, Do expand it. I'd love to see more SEC teams because
Well, if they
now
expand
you have
it,
to.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so like, it's
But
crazy.
no, that's what I'm saying. This is what plays exactly into what they wanted to happen.
I don't. No, I think Greg. I mean, the SEC's in a good spot either way.
You know what's
Right?
crazy
Like, at the end
is
of the day, like they're gonna be good either way.
if they had the 12-team playoff right now, LSU's first matchup would be against Tulane, because Tulane is the highest non-Power 5
Group of 5.
I mean, yeah, that's it. Group of 5 team in there. They're an 8-1, so they would be put into the playoff because that's the way it works.
Did you see UL Stadium?
UL's?
Oh, dude, from a little, not my fault, maybe their fault, maybe
Not
Billy
many
Napier's
people in there?
fault. Buddy, empty.
Yeah. It's tough, man.
And Willie Fritz is getting all of the cats that used to go to UL. That's what happens. You see the shift of power happening where it's like, oh, there's some kids that are, that want to stay in Louisiana that aren't quite good enough to go to LSU. Billy Napier was scooping all that talent up. You see it with Kyron Lacey. You see it with Mekhi Gardner, where there's guys that are good enough to go somewhere. Now, UL's kind of lost a little bit of their luster, I would say. And now Tulane's getting in. Willie Fritz is,
Look at Florida State getting in the top 25.
Good for them. They're going to fire their coach.
They can't now.
They have to.
They want Dion.
You got to make a call.
I think they're going to keep their guy. Notre Dame's 20. That was a big win for the Notre Dame.
Well, that's another thing. Is if LSU loses.
Notre Dame's got to play USC. I forgot about that. USC's getting out, bro. They're going to lose.
Oh, USC's beat.
They have too many. They have too many. They have too many. They have too many big games. They're not going to win them all.
Yeah, they're beating
USC, Oregon. This is the meat of their schedule.
Pac-12's going to get somebody in.
Nope, I don't believe that.
Do you think Notre Dame's going to knock both of them out? Oregon can still slide in. UCLA can still slide in.
I think
USC can still slide in. One of
I
those three is getting in.
I think one of those 3 teams is going to end the season with just one loss. I really do.
If you have to predict it,
And
what happens if?
And I really don't think that they're that good either.
Here's my question: What happens if Ole Miss? What happens if Ole Miss runs the rest of the table, and they only got one loss?
They're out.
I know they're out, but I'm just saying. They play Alabama next week. I mean, I don't think they will.
Being the third in the West.
No, I know.
Alone puts you out.
I know.
Yeah, just off of that alone, they won't give them any like real love for it.
They wouldn't be the third; to be second if they beat Alabama this week.
Yeah, you're right. If they did run the table, yeah.
Has Alabama ever felt more vulnerable than they do right now?
Since Saban's been there after 2007, no.
Because that's what we were.
Has Alabama ever lost 3 games outside of 7? Because 7 they went 500. In 2008 they lost 1 game and then won the national championship the next year, right? Have they lost more than 2 games since then?
I don't think so, unless you count. They've lost a bowl game.
Well, yeah, they've lost bowl games, so yeah.
I don't
was the bowl game with 2 losses?
This is their first time with 2 losses in the regular season since 19, I think.
Yeah, because
I think the number was 19.
Yeah, because that's when they lost to Auburn.
No, they lost to A&M.
No, A&M. Yeah. That's right. A&M, us, and then A&M.
Mm-hmm. Because there was not conspiracy theory, but there was a path where LSU had to play Alabama again in the national championship. If they had run the table, LSU would have won the West. Alabama's lurking around with 1 loss to an SEC West champion. A&M steps up. Was it Calzada? The game of his life. Haven't heard from him.
No, that wasn't 19. Calzada beat him last year.
I would love to know. Here's a question. Who's the idiot in the AP poll that voted for Ohio State for a number 1 spot right there?
What about the guy who voted Alabama over us?
I wonder where he works.
What are you doing?
Alabama got voted over us.
Oh, Glenn Gilbo.
Probably.
What there?
We got little giggles out there.
I see.
Wait, what was the schedule? Oh, I wanted to look at what's the schedule? There's a schedule I want to look at. Hold on, let me see. Who was it?
I can only help you so much.
I don't know who it was. I'm drawing a blank. Oh,
Saints game.
Yeah, but the whole point of this conversation was this is what makes college football so fun but frustrating because it's not
because you have to play scenarios.
Yeah,
you can't just let it play out.
Not everybody can play everybody, and you don't have divisions, and it's like the NFL where everybody's a professional and like the divisions.
There is no
divisions.
Yeah, there's no like legit this is the law of what gets you in. So we can't have the conversation of, well, if this and if that. No, it's where are you at the end of the year. That's NFL. In college football, it's up for debate.
So does that make you more excited for the playoff if that's where they get to? What are they proposing? An 8-team playoff or a 12-team playoff?
Either way, it's still gonna be the same thing.
I know, but at least you get to play. At least you get to play for it instead of.
Here we go.
Yeah, but you may be pissed if you get
all right
paired with the team that you're like, well, how in the hell are we playing?
Let's go through this.
Just get me in the tournament.
Okay, you're talking about the Pac-12. This week, Oregon has to play Washington. Washington can upset them. Right? Washington's ranked 24th. The next weekend, Utah plays Oregon.
Sneaky.
All right?
Love Utah.
Also can upset. Oregon ends the season against Oregon State, but that's always crazy because it's the big rivalry. I don't see Oregon State winning, right? So then, USC schedule. This week, they play Colorado, boat race. Then, November 19th, USC, UCLA. Right? Big game. Then, in the season, against Notre Dame.
Oh, no.
So they got 2 back-to-back tough games, right? That is going to be tough for them to, it's just they have their hardest part of their schedule coming up. Is my point. So there's an avenue where both teams have another loss and they have 2 losses and they don't get it.
I agree. I don't believe in any of those teams, but what I will say is I do think out of the 3, one of them is going to end up running the table.
All right, pick your 4 right now. If you have to.
We already said it. I already told you what my 4 is.
What is it?
It's got 3 SEC teams in it. I just don't think that they're going to let it actually happen.
I think it's going to be Georgia, LSU.
In the playoff?
If LSU wins? If LSU beats Georgia?
No, I'm talking about right now. You think that if
LSU,
LSU,
for this, like tomorrow's rankings?
No. But you think if LSU...
Obviously
if LSU wins out,
yes.
I'm saying predict the future. Don't say if they do.
Oh, you want me to say, do I think they're going to beat
Georgia? Give me your
Georgia?
final 4, yeah.
Fuck, dude, I can't. I can't.
It feels like it's Tennessee for sure, Georgia for sure.
I don't think it's Tennessee for sure.
You can't blame them for that loss to a number 1 team in the country.
I'm not blaming them, but I'm saying, I think that LSU is going to beat Georgia. And that's the championship game now.
Who do you think matches up better? If you could pick one, LSU versus Georgia or LSU versus Tennessee?
LSU versus Georgia matches
I agree. And I feel like as good as Georgia has looked in that defense is stifling.
It's the defense. I'm worried about the offensive side because of what Tennessee. Now, you play Tennessee twice. You obviously have the second time playing against them, so it's a little different. But I have more confidence going up against that Georgia offense because it's a little bit more methodical. I think that we have the ability to do those different things with them, like to defend them.
I think LSU is just I think it's a more physical matchup.
Yeah, right. I just think it's. I think
they're playing a phone booth.
I think defensively is going to be. I mean, they are real defensively.
Yeah.
So, but.
And I also think if you line up Tennessee again, which obviously that offense scares people because they're going to score.
But let's just tell the truth.
Let's go.
Tennessee's way of playing.
Well, I think before you go, I think LSU coached themselves out that you never really got a fair shake. And never felt like you got to see them play.
Tennessee's way of playing is a bit gimmicky. It is. It works, but it's a bit gimmicky, right?
If you get them off schedule like Georgia did, they can't.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So, if you can kind of figure out the riddle a little earlier,
and here's the deal: our offense, even 3 weeks, our offense now compared to when it was against Tennessee, is even way better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, my parlay still in play, boys. Oh, that stinks. Look at that.
Is it no longer?
No, I mean that was like a 35-yard roll on the punt. It was a short punt. This guy rolls it 35 yards. So,
hey, shout out Greg Clayton. That man had some pressure on his
first of all,
back.
Both of those balls he let bounce should have bounced.
Yeah,
he got very unlucky bounces.
Yeah.
And then he caught the one.
And he took one for a little return. Got a little cocky.
Yeah, he did.
I loved it. I mean, let's erase that from the memory. And then as soon as you think they're playing a clean special teams game, they kick out of bounds, you're just like, okay, we're overthinking it again. The amount of times I saw that man on the field before that and the amount of time I saw him on the field after that there's a very stark difference between. I couldn't find the gold hat after the kick out of bounds. I think he went to the medical tent.
We also gotta get our fans to listen. We do the standing ovation for the first punt.
It's over now.
It's over now. We can't keep doing it every punt that
we've gotten past that.
That's what visitors do. No, it's over. It's over.
I'd be remiss not
to. I agree with you. He took he returned one.
No. It shouldn't have happened in this game either. Is what I'm saying. That's over. It happened 2 or 3 games ago. That's cool. It's over.
I'd be remiss to not.
We're nervous again.
I know, but
I get
it's
it.
over. We figured it out.
Yeah, it's like they can't.
I'd be remiss not to mention the Astros winning the World Series. Congratulations to Alex Bregman, the Astros. Yeah, I didn't watch one pitch of that game.
Did they play on Saturday?
Played them right in the middle of the LSU game.
Yeah. Oh, Major League Baseball's really got it figured out.
Well, the rain delay fucked them. The rain out fucked them. Moved them back 1 game, and it was supposed to end on Friday. Stuff.
What? I mean, we can't figure that out.
Well, actually, it wouldn't have. Game 6 would have been on Friday. Game 7 would have been on Saturday.
Yeah.
So they would have had Game 7. Oof.
You can't play on Sunday because of the NFL, but if you have Tennessee, Georgia.
Yeah, but I mean.
And then you have LSU, Alabama. Where do you think you're
What do you want to do? Play in the middle of the week?
I don't
know. That's not really on them.
That's okay. I mean, that's just the way it works.
That's just the way this one fell.
Yeah.
What's on them, if you want to say anything's on them, is to make it that if you were able to make things that much more desirable through the year, then people end up watching it in that situation a little more.
But
I'll tell you what, there was a lot
locked in on it. We were talking about how much we love Major League Baseball playoffs.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people invested in the suites.
Hey,
the game was on, people were watching into it. Like, I'm not joking. People. I love the playoffs, but people were looking at me after like, oh, the Astros won. I'm like, what?
I don't even know baseball.
Did you not see what's happening outside right now? Like
Marwan's out there again.
I wonder if he was out there. He's banned from the stadium, I think.
He's banned for life.
That's tough, buddy.
Some people are saying he Dr. Strange did and saw the future.
Maybe.
Would you get arrested for that win? I would.
No.
Oh.
I'm good.
The red rifle.
Y'all wouldn't fit in jail.
You did.
I bet I did.
Oh no!
Oh boy.
Oh, flag. Love that flag. Huge flag.
Oh boy.
Oh, 14's on the run.
But it's okay.
We're watching Baltimore Saints right now. That's why the show has been derailed. We have a flag on the red rifle.
No, it's a flag on the secondary. It's gonna be.
No, we have a flag on the red rifle interception. We're about to find out what's.
It was a tip ball that got up in the air, intercepted.
Oh, but then what happens after a tip? You can't do whatever you want. Are they going to be able to review it?
It was interference before the tip.
Oh, I didn't know if a defensive line tipped it.
Pass interference, Chuck Clark, suck it. Are y'all done hanging out there?
I was actually editing the pictures.
I'm just joking.
Which pictures?
What? Yeah.
The ones I took in here. Last night.
You laugh weird.
You look weird.
Feel great.
Wow. This game really did derail the.
Why's your hair all like that?
Because it started before we ever got a chance to talk about it.
I know. That's all right. I mean, look, big weekend LSU. I think most people want to see the LSU. Whoa, wait, what?
Who's that human?
Who's that? Washington. Dwayne Washington. I need Kamara to get the ball.
Do I have to take the game off the screen? Can you focus?
Yep.
Which
one?
What
do you want to say? I can focus. You're about to ask me something.
Can you focus?
Yeah, I'm focused.
Okay.
I'm locked in. I have bets.
Okay, talk about that then.
Okay, let's talk about that.
A little heater?
I was on a heater this weekend.
Somebody thinks you're a tout.
Yeah, one of my friends, my baseball friends played with me in Tampa. He asked me what I liked on the Saturday games. I told him he won. Then he asked me on Sunday, what do I like on the Sunday games? And I gave him a disclaimer. I said, just letting you know, all the money that I have won on Saturday games have been lost on the Sunday games. He's like, it's all right. Let's ride with it. I'm like, okay. So I tell him all of my bets, and I go 4-0-2 this weekend. So he calls me after the Titans hit the plus 13.5, which plus 13.5 in the NFL when you have Derrick Henry and a defense that's pretty solid, that's a lot of points. So I was like, okay, that's not going to get the first down. That stinks. I was like, that's a lot of points. So I was like, all right, took it. After that hit, he calls me and he's like, man, you're on a heater. So he asked me today what I wanted for this game. I told him the only thing I told him for this was the under for the first half because I don't trust myself. But I did put a little sprinkle on this 5. It's not a 5-game parlay. It's a same game 5-play parlay. Yeah. It's gonna pay plus 7,000 if I hit it.
All right, you heard it. Plus 7,000.
So it's it's obviously just a little bit of a fun bet. I went Andy Dalton over 233.5 yards passing. Not looking great right now. Taysom Hill first touchdown score, which that's still in play. Chris Olave over 62.5 yards receiving. Alvin Kamara to score a touchdown. And Taysom Hill over 26.5 yards rushing. Now, obviously, not likely. That's why the odds are plus 7,000. I also took Alvin Kamara over 49.5 yards rushing and over 49.5 yards passing, which is also a plus 270. That was a boost on Caesar Sportsbook. If you want to bet Caesar Sportsbook, please use our promo code MikeDupFull. We haven't promoted that in a minute. We're doing it now.
And now it's there.
And that's what I got.
Where are you on the year?
I don't know. I mean,
How many times?
I'm definitely down.
Okay.
I'm definitely down. There's no doubts about that.
When's the last time you put money back in?
Back into what?
The account. From your actual money into the Caesars money.
Probably about a month ago.
That's good.
Yeah. Probably about a month ago, and right now I just got back up to even. No, maybe 3 weeks ago. I just got back up. I got back up above even, and so. But I also have some futures out there. Before the year started, I bet over/under Saints and LSU over/under 14.5 wins combined. I thought the Saints were going to do the heavy lifting. It looks like the LSU is doing the heavy lifting, which is going to hit both. LSU is going to hit the over 7 wins. Duh.
Where are we at right now? 7?
We're at 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Saints are going to hit the over, or I don't know if they're going to hit the over 8 wins, but I have over/under 8 wins for the Saints. I think the combination is going to hit because of LSU, which will be nice. Saints if LSU wins 10 games, Saints have to win 5. Saints won 9, they have to win 6. I think the Saints will win 6. You know what I mean? Those were the futures. Now my other futures I'm not even going to mention because those are dead. Dead.
Did you know what your cousin did this weekend, Robert?
He ran a great tailgate. That got voted best tailgate of the day.
That too, but do you know what else was in play?
Nope.
His wife had a 25% chance of going into labor.
Oh, I knew that. I told him that he should have had her come to the game.
That's what I said.
Out of all the diehard fans in our family, we have never had a baby at the party box in its time.
I thought you were going to say there's at least one doctor in the family that can help you out.
And we know enough doctors to where they could, we'll sanitize the party box and have the baby in the party box.
Put her in a cooler.
You know?
But I thought that was unbelievable. I got to go. He's like, I don't know what to do. My hands
That's
are tied.
That's great that she understood that.
Well, Robert sold her a bill of goods. We could just call me, and there is no chance alive that your phone works in Tiger Stadium. Now, there's so many people there. Oh, yeah, that was not good. I didn't really tell her that part. And I was like, don't just say.
She needed a satellite phone.
Yeah, you need a sat phone. You need what is it from Tropic Thunder? My guy? Matthew McConaughey?
Oh, yeah.
Tucker Nuts.
Yeah.
My guy wants a TiVo. He's getting a TiVo. But the fact that he was able to pull that off, no baby. But with that said, there's going to be a lot of babies in 9 months that are named Brian, Kelly, Jayden, Daniels, Mason. A lot of people.
Is that a real thing? People do that?
Oh, people were fucking Saturday.
I mean, I know that. I'm talking about naming people after.
Oh, there's probably going to be so many Joes in Louisiana from 2019.
You think?
Yeah. Absolutely. We're simple people down here. Our family.
So you're telling me that that's like a thought that's on your mind if and when that situation comes
up? I would never.
I already have the names for our first son and my first daughter. Now, after that, we don't have any names.
Adolf?
What? That's definitely not going to be it.
What?
I mean, that's not happening. I mean, you are weird.
You're dark.
I mean, who comes up with that stuff?
Just do some light reading.
Now the NFL game's on. How crazy has the NFL season's been? I mean,
I don't even watch it anymore.
Why? NFL is the best product on TV.
I'm so tired of losing.
Well, you should listen to my bets.
And I'm so tired from Saturdays that I just wake up at like 2.
It's the best way to watch the game.
Tired?
Yeah, you do nothing. You just,
lazily.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. But I'm saying I am waking up for big noon kickoff. Like,
Coach,
I'm just toast.
Did you really just out yourself like that?
What?
As a 30-year-old human, you're telling me I ain't waking up for noon kickoff?
You slept through the whole LSU game.
That's a lie. That's a firm lie. I didn't sleep through a down of the LSU game. What are you talking about?
It's a lie.
No, you heard I was at home. You didn't hear anything about me sleeping through it. You're lying right now.
But I mean, dude, like you have actually Josh Allen, UCL issue. Potentially little Tommy John.
Oh, I have a future on him.
I know,
And
potential little Tommy John issue. They lose to the Jets. Jets
Sean
are.
Jackson's back.
Sean Jackson's back.
He's back.
He needs to go play for Alabama. That's who they need. Somebody go stretch the field.
Well, yeah, Lamar was like, let me get a receiver. They're like, best we can do is a Sean Jackson.
Yeah.
But we get Roquan Smith for our defense.
And then, where's Michael Thomas? Is anybody up to?
He's dead.
What's your feelings on that?
Michael Thomas. I mean, listen, dude.
See him in 2023.
For what
Or
team?
not. Maybe not with us. Maybe we get our
for
first.
what team? What are you gonna do? Release him? That's the
Maybe
best
we
you can do?
maybe we trade him and get our first rounder back.
Hey, the best you can do is release him because ain't nobody picking up that contract.
Yeah, nobody's
with
gonna
that
take
injury
that
history.
contract.
So you're better off if he's healthy keeping him.
We ain't playing.
Well, this year.
What are you gonna do?
So I was.
What are you going to do?
The
I
rumor
don't know.
the rumor that I heard was he was misdiagnosed. But I'm like, so we misdiagnosed him 2 years in a row, and nobody else on the team's been
That's what I'm
misdiagnosed.
saying. He is lying.
I don't know if he's lying. They said it was turf toe, and then they came back and said it was dislocated toe. That's why he's out for the year. But like, I don't know. I
I still understand how he got a dislocated toe, and that's. I mean, I'm sure he's got an X-ray. Like, how do we not?
That's my point. I
I
don't know.
I don't get.
I don't know anything about that being a fact or not. That's just what I was told.
Get pop that thing back in.
I'm sure it's back in. I'm sure it's
back in.
already back in.
Can't buddy tape it.
It's not like fingers. I think running a comeback route on a dislocated toe probably doesn't feel great.
If you ask Jameis, he said your hands are just like your feet, your elbows are just like your knees. If you really look at it, you don't remember him saying that?
No, I do, but that's still not the same.
He was saying, he was basically saying everything's connected. Okay.
Yeah. I know what you're saying that he said, but it's still not the same.
Just in the Jameis way.
I mean, I haven't been to the doctor since and it's been 12 years.
I just would like Lamar not to mess my.
I need Lamar to ball out.
No, I just need you can kick a field goal. I don't want him to mess up my parlay.
You still need Jason.
First touchdown.
Play well.
Can we win 42-35?
I'd like to see the Saints light it up.
First touchdown and Demario Davis is a monster. Listen,
That's the problem with the Saints. They're halfway in. There ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. You can't be halfway in and halfway out.
who's halfway out?
That's the way that the roster's constructed. It's not.
Where?
What do you mean?
You can't. It's a veteran-laden team that was built. You sold all your picks to be able to make a run. But
Coach, I think you're missing the point. I think it's a good mix of young and old guys.
Yeah, but you run out of time.
Okay, so how are they halfway
But
out?
who's running out of time? Yeah. That's
Well,
what
you got Michael Thomas. It's not bought
Okay, that's
in.
one guy.
You got a quarterback
Not-
that you
he's
don't have a
not-
quarterback.
Okay, well,
He's
the quarterback
injured.
was an injury. Like that's not.
But
That's,
was
that were-
Jameis the guy that's gonna?
but they believe that
Drew
he
was
was
injured too. What do you mean he's injured?
They
That's not
believe that he
halfway
was,
out.
and they
Drew's
believe that
80.
they believe that the wide receivers were like with the talent they had. Oh my God.
I don't
With the
think
talent that
were
they had, they thought that with Jameis it'd be good. Now Jameis got hurt, but like defensively, you have a bunch of young guys. Warner's young, Taylor's young, Marshawn Lattimore's still young. Like you have all these guys now. You have a couple of veterans mixed in there. Your defensive line, you have a couple of young guys in the defensive line, a couple old guys in the defensive line. Same with the linebackers. Offensive line's got a mix of your old and young, and then Kamara's 27. Does that just debunk your thing?
No, just none of that is relevant if you don't have a quarterback.
Okay, but they thought they did. The guy
Yeah,
got
they
hurt.
thought they did.
I mean, he
He
got
hasn't-
hurt.
He hasn't played since week.
I'm with you. Now they need to get a quarterback, but he just got hurt. I mean, it's very unfortunate.
I don't know. I'm just, and then you trade away Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for what?
God damn it.
I think that was just a mistake, honestly.
Yeah,
I think they could have used him.
He's leading the league in interceptions.
Interceptions.
Yeah, I know.
Tough.
Saints playoffs or no?
I would say no, but with the division, like you have a chance. But I just think you have to win. You can't be 3-6 after this game. You have to win the game.
They're gonna have to win the division. That's the only way. That's the only way they're getting there.
Like you have to win this game unless you play 3 more division games. So, you beat the Bucks and
I want to say the entire NFC East, which is usually the NFC least, is the one that's
I don't like how that looked.
Wow. I think that entire
my parlay's dead.
Is that Duvernay?
No, that's likely.
That's your guy.
That's
your guy.
Got him double time.
Oh, there goes my parlay. So much for that plus 1,000.
I got him double time.
Tyrann Mathieu just retired.
Hey, listen though. I think they. I don't even know what I'm saying. There you go.
You want to go to the segments?
Let's go to the seggies. We got distracted. Monday Night Football.
This is my fault.
Why?
Nah.
I put it on.
It just caught up to us anyway. We were gonna get to talking about.
When we
this
talked for an hour and 20 minutes about LSU football, I think that's.
I don't know if we covered everything.
I'm sure we didn't. What else do you want to cover?
Left tackle, right tackle.
We talked about them.
We talked about
how great they were.
I don't know what I'm gonna do after that, because now what? There's no better.
What do you mean?
There's no better high.
What do you mean?
National championship.
From
beating Georgia.
That would be great, but it's not gonna happen in Tiger Stadium.
No.
So what? Because next year is gonna be better.
Yeah, Alabama's away.
Who cares?
Florida's
but
at
I'm just
home.
saying.
You know what's better?
I left there.
Lloyd, you know what's better? You know what's better? You stop being a prisoner of the moment right now. You know what's better?
I'm locked
Lloyd,
for life.
Lloyd, you know what's better than what you just had right there? When they kick it off to open the year and you're already a national championship contender. That's what's better. Not waiting till week 8 or 9 to be like, oh, if we beat Georgia, if we beat Alabama, I think we're real this year. That's what's better. When you open the season with those expectations and not when you get to week 9 and you think, oh shit, I think we got a chance now.
See, I disagree.
Why?
Because climbing the mountain is much more fun than looking at top of it. What LSU is doing right now, I love the build. You can't.
So you're the guy.
So you don't want to.
You're the guy who gets complacent at the top.
Wait. So
no, I'm not. Everybody else
time out.
does.
Wait. So you don't want a great program. You want something that shows up every couple years. Then.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to be in contention every year.
That's not. You're literally saying the opposite.
Yep.
No,
exactly.
Yeah, you are.
I don't want to be what Alabama is.
You don't have to be what Alabama is to be that type of team.
You don't want to be what Alabama is?
No, because then it becomes, look how upset they get.
I'd rather win all the time.
Me too.
There's never a contest I ever go into being like, I hope we lose. I hope I lose.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
you
saying
are saying that.
The journey is more fun.
The journey's always fun.
Yeah. I like the journey every year. I don't like expectations.
I don't understand how you. But how is there not a journey even when there's expectations?
Look at this guy. Look how cool that guy is.
What I'm talking about is, and I think T-Bob said this. I saw it on Instagram where Alabama fans, they expect it to happen, so they don't enjoy anything like
I understand.
LSU.
I understand what you're saying.
I get that.
If you're always good, you get spoiled.
Okay, I'd rather be spoiled.
Then don't get spoiled. Don't be that person.
I'm not. I'm always there. Come find me.
Well, then you should
300.
be. Well, then you should be
Seat
good
9.
if we put together a
Right
dynasty
next to
here.
Mikey one time. You go to the bathroom a lot.
They sold their tickets, so you don't ever see me there anymore.
No, I've raised the child.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lloyd just told y'all he only wants a team that's good every 3 years or 4 years.
That's it.
I like the rush.
All right, let's get to the seggies, Lloyd.
Life's too short to lose every.
Lloyd likes
Not
to
My
lose.
Fault is brought to you by Doe's Place, our friends at Doe's. We need to go. We need to get Doe's. We need to get like a catered here. We need to go there for lunch one day. We have a team lunch.
LSU,
soon.
Arkansas, 11 a.m.
We're gonna be in Miami. I will definitely not be at Doe's.
I was gonna say we're doing a watch party, Jack. If you would like to come.
I am the watch party.
Ooh, what? All right, Not My Fault brought to you by Doe's Place. You got one in
I
here.
think part of the watch party was here earlier. I thought I heard it.
I know what you're talking about.
Do you want your...
You have the one on here, right? What is this?
I do. This is just a curtain call, actually. But
Okay.
I will do my fault, not my fault. And it is Mike Leach. This man... thought it was interesting.
I mean,
because Mike Leach is one of the most interesting people of all time.
And you're like an equipment guy that goes right behind him.
And somebody goes right behind him. And so that's really was my fault, not my fault, because he's going to get yelled at by somebody if he didn't come up and pick these chairs up. And it's also just the enigmatic Mike Leach. Like, this is your head coach doing this. Like, if you saw Brian Kelly.
That's Katie's head coach right there.
I know, but if you're Mississippi State, like, what are we doing? Like, we have to have something better to do today.
This is mid-game?
Yes.
Yeah. Mid-game. The game's going on.
The game's going. Look at the players.
Game's happening. There's people on the field.
I think it's safe to say that the defense is on the field right now. Got to be, right?
What do you think he's saying in the headset?
Look at that little ass play sheet he's got in his hand. And it's just folded up.
It's a card.
Right
it's
there.
not a sheet.
Yeah, it's not a sheet.
It's an index card.
But that's just, I don't know if it's my fault, not my fault. I just thought it was, somebody's going to get blamed for something. Mike Leach has way better things to do. But
Mike Leach gets off. He gets off of that. He doesn't have no blame for him.
Yeah, well, Mississippi State's never going to be better. This is what you got. It's what it looks like.
Yeah. Okay.
What's yours?
I don't have a not my fault.
I was talking about curtain call.
Oh, my curtain call. Well, I'm going to go last. Do you have one?
Yeah, my curtain call is to, this is very low-hanging fruit, but he was very, very good to me this week.
God.
Joe Mixon and God.
I have Joe Mixon too.
Joe Mixon had a historic week, and it was good for my fantasy squad to get back on the board. So, curtain call to Joe.
Mine was a kid that took the pylon. He had one job, executed it perfectly.
And is
going viral for it, as he should.
Yes, he did.
To the point where
very timely.
To the point where LSU had to tweet about it and say, no, he works here, because I thought it was a perfectly executed thief. I thought he was in and out like a man, the thief of the night. Smooth criminal. I'm gonna take this, and I guess he realized. Obviously, somebody assigned that because there's probably like a $20,000 camera in that pylon that LSU can't see. They can't seem to put it where the first down marker is, or where like it's 3rd and 1.
Just the back of the end zone.
We got to put that in the back corner. But I thought that man, the new Flash, who was when Jameis was at Florida State, the Red Lightning.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna take this man's job.
So somebody somewhere didn't they start using a pylon inside of the chains that they would put where the ball is spotted?
Oh, I don't know.
They could put the camera on that.
They started putting more pylons that that's the
no,
only
I'm
the
literally
NFL.
one. I'm saying like they move with the chain gang too.
I don't know.
I could have sworn I've seen them do that places, but maybe I'm crazy.
That was your curtain call with Mike Leach?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously my curtain call. I'm not doing the low hanging fruit. I think the curtain call of the state of Louisiana needs to be Saturday night. That happened in Baton Rouge. That's not mine personally. Curtain call is brought to you by Shared Partners, by the way. But obviously Tiger Stadium, that was the best it sounded. So as a curtain call to a whole state, was that my curtain call is to our teammate Jack Ballard. Jack, I want to give you another shout out. I'd give it to you at the beginning of the show, kind of led into this, but Jack has been on the field every home game, taking pictures. All the pictures and the videos that you see that we post, majority of them are from him on there in the meat of it, right in the middle of the game, taking all the videos. This week, we decided, okay, it's a big week. We probably should have done this earlier in the year, but we've gained enough footage throughout the course of the season that Jack's like, I'm gonna put together a highlight video. I thought your highlight video was better than one LSU put out before the game started. What was that?
Yeah, what was that? I don't know if that was even supposed to be a hype video or not. But
I think they're gonna come out with like a massive, like the little. They were teasing it. This is all leading up to LSU Gold. This is what happens when you have premium content.
Yeah, but
now you get trailers as opposed to episodes, to where it's like, hey, we're gonna direct all of this back to LSU Gold. So
yeah, but shouldn't the hype video come out before the game?
That's what I'm saying. You're not going to get those anymore. They are going to, what they're going to do is what just happened this week is everything is going to lead up into LSU Gold. So for Jack, there's an open opportunity there
big
for
opportunity
hype videos every week.
But
or Jack cucked them and they're like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, shout out to you because then you come out with a post game recap hype video, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you have I haven't sent you that picture, but the picture, Jack got caught with a picture on the game on the sidelines of the game winner. him taking in his stuff,
him still working,
still
not
working,
just being a fan in the prison
right,
of the moment,
working with the camera, jumping up, smiling like pure elation. He got caught in a great picture. Like, should be framed and hung up everywhere.
Yeah,
trigger finger was still working.
That's it. That's my curtain call. You're my curtain call.
I literally was holding it like this.
I had a couple, and I was like, yeah, he's mine. That's it. That is it.
I think he deserves it.
They called me at the end of the jump, though. I got higher than that. It looks a little
I was on the way down.
Wait, are you the only one doing that over there?
Doing whatever where?
Celebrating?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a press box where you have to kind of keep
No, like the
impartial?
whole like the Tiger
Impartial?
Girls, the dance team, they're like in that corner all game. They completely stopped like their dancing duties and like lined up on the sideline watching, and we were all celebrating over there.
And what? So sad. The people in the press box, all of them, which are LSU fans, just had to go. We're gonna roll the dice, one play to win it all, and Bregman, obviously got the news. But you have to sit in that press box. There have to be LSU fans. Why else would you be covering sports? Touchdown, crowd goes nuts. Pen to paper. Gotta get this fucking article out. Can't cheer.
Tough.
Terrible life.
You signed up for the job.
You got to multitask.
I just don't know why it can't be fun.
It is fun, I think.
I had a lot of fun.
Maybe they just enjoy being in a small part of the whole thing.
Also,
have you ever been in the press box?
I actually never been in the press box.
Ever. Like seeing those people work?
Yeah.
I did that for 2 years. Everybody's happy.
Another backup curtain call is to Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler. Because that 13-minute video of them on the plane.
Hammered.
I think Fowler was more hammered than Herbstreit.
I think Fowler was a little, yeah.
Did you
He kept toasting the thing. I'm like, all right, enough with the toasts. We got that. We get it. But it was very, he wasn't slurring his words by any means. He wasn't
exhausted. He felt that was Baton Rouge.
Yeah, but you could see how much of they're fans of football. They're not fans of LSU, but they're fans of football, and you could see how big that game was to them and how awesome.
Fowler basically told you this was why I wanted to do this since I was a little boy, to watch situations like this. Yeah.
And Kirk Herbstreit basically was like, this is LSU, Tiger Stadium at night. There's nothing like it. He said it a million times on the broadcast. And then after the game and the way the game ended and them going through, and he was like, this is amazing. And everybody that comes to watch a game at night in that situation, that moment, feels the same way. When Scott Van Pelt had that 5 minute.
LSU's right.
When LSU's right. Scott Van Pelt had that 5 minute but the 5 minute monologue on
an homage.
That's the right word, on how special LSU was and how there's nothing in sports like it. That
ain't his first one either.
Right. This was I don't know what game that was. Maybe 11. No, not 11.
He did another one.
It was 2012.
He did another one. He did another one Saturday night too.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't see the one Saturday.
He did the same thing where he's like, I know I've done this before.
That's why I said that's not it. That ain't his first one either.
And then we were on sidelines. I saw Russillo. Russillo hadn't been to an LSU game all year. He's on sidelines for LSU Alabama.
Goes to every LSU Alabama game, home or away. It's unbelievable. He's like, this is just the best football you can watch. Whether it be both teams are good or the atmosphere is just unbelievable.
Yep.
And my actual, maybe my fault, not my fault, was Fowler. Because if you hear that last call, this man is a consummate pro. He's called Wimbledon. He's called everything.
He's great at his job.
He's really good. Yeah,
he is. No, he's first ballot Hall of Fame broadcaster. Yeah. But when you hear the call when Mason Taylor scores, he sounds like a home broadcast for LSU football because the place was on tilt and he got caught. He got caught up in the moment.
And that's okay.
It's not a bad thing. No, but
I don't think it's good. I don't think it's even. If you watch him, I really would say over the past 5 or 6 years, he's taken those situations and it's almost become. Not almost, really let his fandom of whatever sport it is kind of take over.
Yeah.
Because he's been very, very boisterous and very, very excited in those situations all the time.
And Kirk gave him props on that 12-minute toast or that 12-minute nightcap they talked about. Kirk gave him a props on his call, and Chris I'm not. Well, let's make this about me. This wasn't me that did this, right? And so that's my backup curtain call because that was awesome too. I love when we get good. Pub for the atmosphere that's real.
Yeah.
Great show today, boys. We don't have a guest. We had a couple guests, but they had some incidents pop up that they couldn't be here. We will be back here live in studio from 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday. We will preview the game against Arkansas this week, but we will not have a show on Friday. We will continue to remind you of that all week. We will be maybe take some videos or something when we're on the beach. Maybe. Probably not.
You know who would?
Jack?
Pat.
Yeah, well, maybe.
I would be watching the game on the beach.
Maybe be sleep.
We actually got to figure out.
I don't know why you think I was sleeping.
We actually got to figure out.
No one ever told you that. Where you get that from?
We actually have to figure out where we're gonna watch the game.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, of course.
Won't be hard to do.
All right.
I'm sure there's an LSU bar somewhere.
Great. We don't even need an LSU bar.
But it'd be cool too, though.
Or find a little pool thing and like have a little big ass TV. Maybe.
We can do that too.
It's 11 a.m. What time will it be in where y'all are?
12.
12. Ooh.
Prime spot.
Prime.
Eat a little lunch. Have a little mimosa.
A little cocaine.
What?
What?
We don't do that.
I said it's gonna be in Havana.
All right. Well, great show. We'll be back live on Wednesday. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Hopefully the Saints can make this a fun game. And you're watching Mik'd Up. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Have a great night.
See you.
Peace.
I am not hearing anything good about Brian Kelly. I'm hearing the players ain't fond of him, the administration ain't fond of him, the fans ain't fond of him, the town ain't fond of him.
I'm here with my family, and we are so excited to be in the great state of Louisiana. Listening to everybody around here that when it's Alabama week, we kind of rise to the level of our competition. That's bull.